you are a Caitlin Clark fan, if you're an Indiana Fever fan, this is something you already know. However, for the haters out there, the old WNBA fandom, many of you call them the slows. For those fans, they're in complete denial. We've tried to tell people Caitlin Clark moves the needle.
So buckle up for this one. Sophie Cunningham just detonated a verbal grenade on her podcast, casually dropping, "The next team I sign with better pay me enough to buy a house and actually settle down." Boom. That one line sent shockwaves straight through the Indiana Fever locker room. This wasn't some throwaway comment. It was a crystal clear signal that one of the team's most underrated anchors might be plotting her exit. And the ripple effect? Massive. We're talking potential roster shakeups and panic behind the scenes, especially with Caitlin Clark, the franchise's golden engine, redefining women's basketball as we know it. But here's the kicker. This isn't just about dollars. It's about the foundation the Fever swore they were building around their generational star. And if Cunningham actually walks, let's just say the meltdown from the top won't be pretty.
So Sophie Cunningham is one of the biggest names in the WNBA. And as well as that, she's also one of the best glue guys, role players in the entire league. Say we want about Sophie Cunningham, she shot 63% true shooting percentage while being a well above average defender. I'm not going to say a great defender, but like well above average defender. She's one of the better defenders on the Fever, and she's somebody that originally usurped DeWanna Bonner as a starter. And then
let's be real. This bombshell announcement sets off every alarm for anyone who actually wants to see the Indiana Fever compete. Or, let's be honest, protect Caitlin Clark's shot at greatness. Losing Sophie Cunningham, the sharpshooter who rains threes and does all the dirty work nobody else wants to, isn't some minor adjustment. It's a gaping hole. You don't just replace that kind of chemistry overnight. Her possible departure hits where it hurts most: Clark's spacing, rhythm, and overall dominance. Without that balance, the whole offense risks collapsing. This isn't a harmless lineup shuffle. It's a full-on tectonic shift that could send shockwaves through everything the Fever have been building.
We've tried to tell people Caitlin Clark moves the needle unlike anybody else in this league or everybody else in this league. It just sort of is what it is. Fans are coming to see one particular player, and along with that, carries over the support to the entire team. Well, Forbes has released a rather very interesting insight report that tells you exactly how much the Indiana Fever's social media engagements are actually monetarily worth.
For Caitlin Clark, the pressure has officially hit its peak. She didn't just arrive with hype. She rebuilt the entire WNBA spotlight from scratch, dragging millions of new fans into the stands. The goal was never just to compete, it was to dominate. So if Sophie Cunningham, one of the few low-ego, high-impact players holding the system together, walks away over financial missteps, that's a brutal blow. It screams roster failure and exposes cracks in the very foundation the Fever promised to build around Clark. Imagine being the league's most transformative star, yet watching your team's structure crumble around you. The frustration? Unimaginable. And now, everyone's asking the same thing. Does this franchise actually have a plan? Or are they wasting a once-in-a-generation talent?
it does sound like the Fever are not going to keep her. From her podcast, a lot of the time she'd been mentioning the Fever, and in the most recent podcast, she did not mention the Fever, and she said this.
And I think the next team I play for, I want a bigger contract, so then I can buy a house and be homey and cozy.
Okay, this is wild. Rumors are flying that Sophie Cunningham could be packing her bags for the New York Liberty or heading straight to the Big Apple spotlight. And honestly, it makes total sense. Her on-court value isn't just high, it's untouchable. We're talking about a player rocking a 63% true shooting percentage, locking down on defense, and standing tall as one of the Fever's best perimeter stoppers. Oh, and that 43% clip from deep? Yeah, that's elite. It's what opens the floor for slashers like Caitlin Clark to go full takeover mode. She fits the system perfectly. Disciplined, team first, with a competitor's mindset and almost zero ego. Those aren't just impressive stats. That's the DNA of a player who makes everyone better. Which is exactly why losing her wouldn't just sting, it'd change everything.
It's released a rather very interesting insight report that tells you exactly how much the Indiana Fever's social media engagements are actually monetarily worth. Either on X or YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, whatever. I mean, all these posts have a monetary value to them based on engagement. Boy, their posts are worth a lot of money. They are worth a lot of money, and I can tell you right now, that's a little over 5 times higher than the next.
Beyond her clutch performances, Sophie Cunningham is a full-blown marketing powerhouse. She's not just playing basketball. She's building the Fever's brand from the ground up. Constantly ranking among the most searched WNBA players and landing major sponsorships, hello, Arby's bag secured, she brings an off-court value most teams would kill for. Sure, Caitlin Clark is the face of the operation, the driving force behind that jaw-dropping $55 million social media valuation, 5 times higher than any other WNBA team. But it's players like Cunningham who supercharge that momentum. Losing her wouldn't just mess with rotations. It'd hit the franchise's image, engagement, and financial momentum all at once. That's not just a player loss. That's a brand crisis in the making.
I don't want to keep. This is the dumbest thing I think I've seen a team do. Like, genuinely. They traded 4 years of Sinai Rivers, and by the way, the Fever wouldn't have drafted Sinai Rivers. The Fever would not have drafted Sinai Rivers. The Fever are dumbasses. They would have drafted somebody else. But losing Sophie Cunningham for money reasons is not a smart thing to do. Like,
And here's where it gets messy. The possible loss of Sophie Cunningham shines a brutal spotlight on the Fever's front office decisions. Let's not forget, they traded away the 8th overall draft pick, used on rising star Samaya Rivers, just to bring Cunningham in as an instant impact veteran. The plan? Strengthen the roster fast and build around Caitlin Clark's momentum. But now? If they let her walk after only 1 season, that entire move looks like a 1-year rental for a premium draft asset. Critics are already tearing it apart, calling it one of the most boneheaded front office blunders in recent memory. What once looked like a bold, win-now play suddenly feels like a masterclass in mismanagement, and the timing couldn't be worse.
They are worth a lot of money, and I can tell you right now, that's a little over 5 times higher than the next WNBA team. 5 times higher. Let's go down here. Just scroll down. The Indiana Fever's staggering $55 million social media evaluation speaks volumes. Now, before we get into this, let me just come over here and let me read this to you so you know exactly what we're looking at. After noticing the
are absolutely torching the Indiana Fever right now, and honestly, it's hard to blame them. They're calling this move a front office disaster of epic proportions. Imagine trading away 4 full years of a cost-controlled draft pick just to snag Sophie Cunningham, only for her to be eyeing the exit after a single season over contract drama. It's beyond confusing, it's reckless. This isn't just about losing a player. It's about failing at the basics of team building. Smart franchises protect assets, not gamble them away. And unless Cunningham is suddenly pushing for a max deal, which, let's be real, she isn't, then this blunder is flat out indefensible. It puts the Fever's long-term vision in jeopardy and torpedoes the short-term championship window they were supposed to be capitalizing on right now.
an unpopular opinion, Sophie's better than Lexi. But it's close enough that fair enough, Lexi's younger. But I'm like, Lexi's not worth a max either. Like, if you're stuck in a situation where you've got two wings that are not max contract players looking for max contracts, you have to pick one or the other, you're kind of screwed. Especially because you could have had a cost-controlled Sanaya Rivers for 4 years. At the same time, what are the odds that Steph White would have not developed Sanaya Rivers whatsoever and gave her bench splinters?
So, what's the real story behind the chaos? At its core, it's all about money. Plain and simple. Sophie Cunningham has been crystal clear. She wants a bigger contract. And honestly, who can blame her? She's earned it with her play, her leadership, and the massive brand boost she brings. But here's the catch. The Indiana Fever are handcuffed by salary cap limits and a tough balancing act as they build everything around Caitlin Clark. That's where the tension explodes. How do you keep the glue players that make your star shine without wrecking your long-term flexibility? If the Fever refuse, or simply fail, to match Cunningham's market value, it exposes a major red flag in their priorities. This wouldn't just be a departure. It'd be a loud public statement about how the team really treats its cornerstone contributors.